preach for a little while. Would you allow me to pick up almost where I was preaching today in the vein of thought and go at it just a little bit different way tonight, but deal with the same thing. The important thing is when God comes near where you are, the best thing you can do is respond somehow to God. Is when God comes near where you are, you don't just sit there and act like he's somebody else, because he is God. And there ought to be a reaction when you and God get together, because whatever you need, he already has it. You need to respond when you get to where he is. Would you clap your hand one more time before I read the word of the Lord tonight? Allow me to just continue at this point, and I am basically preaching now. Allow me to explain to you that God is an awesome God. And yet the word awesome does not describe God, because in every facet of life, he is phenomenal. In chemistry, he turns water into wine. In biology, he was born without normal conception. In physics, he disproved the law of gravity when he suspended himself and ascended into heaven. In economics, he disproved the law of diminishing return by feeding 5,000 men with two fishes and 5 loaves of bread. In medicine, he cured the sick and the blind without administering a single dose of drugs. In history, he is the beginning and he is the end. In government, he is wonderful, counselor, the Prince of Peace, the mighty God. And in religion, he said, nobody comes to the Father except they come by me. He is God. The God that I'm talking about tonight is the God of eternity. And after eternity, he is still God. I don't know how to describe it, but before eternity, he was God. He has always been God. But after ever how long it has been that he's been here, he shows no sign of wear and tear. He does not need a rest. He does not need anything. He is self-sustaining within himself. His accounts are in the black. He is the owner, not to mention the creator of the whole universe. He can look at anything and put his finger on it and say, that's mine. He can look at the furthest star and the furthest galaxy and said, it's there by my command. He's an awesome God. He owns all the money because he planted the trees that we make the money out of. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and all the cows and standing on the hills. He decided the pattern of the universe. He designed the skies above, and he owns the pattern of all the universe. He is God. He decided on the color of the sunset. He decided on the color of every flower and everything. His inventions and his design are unequal to anybody else. He is an awesome God. He does whatever he wants. His purposes are a very sure thing. There is no stopping him if he makes up in his mind to do something. There is no containing him. There is no refusing him. There's no cutting him off of the path. He sends forth the water on the earth, and he raises up kingdoms and he brings down kingdoms. He ordains birth and he ordains death. And in the midst of all this, he is God. And He is in control of everything that's happening in this entire universe at this very second. Come on, hang with me. I'll preach in a little bit. He is an awesome God. There is nothing in Him that should be out of Him. There is nothing out of Him that should be in Him. He knows all things. And He can look in the past and the future and hold it in the present and say it is. He can say I am, because He can stand and span yesterday, today, and tomorrow all at one time. And the writer said He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is I am because He wants to be I am. He is I am because it is His alone that is tied, and He is God in all power and glory and wisdom and understanding. That's why you ought to shout when He gets in your presence. If everybody quits worshiping Him, it won't stop Him from being God. I want to tell you, in spite of all that you did tonight, He's still God, whether you do it or not. If everybody decides to no longer worship Him, He will still be God. Ooh, you're listening and I like it, but a little head nod every once in a while don't hurt. God's greatness does not depend upon you and I. Heaven is not dependent on whether you come to church or don't come to church. Heaven does not depend on whether you live for God or whether you don't live for God. If everybody falls off the face of the earth, He will still be God. One writer said He takes counsel from none. He